in the future Masjid Al-Sahlah plays a critical part upon the zuhur of the 12th Imam. Number one, in regards to the historical significance of Masjid Al-Sahlah, we have within our hadith that there is not a single Nabi from the 124,000 Anbiya that was sent by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala except that they have recited Salat in Masjid Al-Sahlah. And you find that within the parameters of Masjid Al-Sahlah, there is one corner in the mosque that has a heavenly stone. Like the Hajar al-Aswad, from the Hajar al-Aswad was a heavenly stone that descended from the heaven. It was white at first and then it was planted in the side of the Kaaba for people to give bay'ah. Similarly, there is a heaven, the Hajar al-Aswad. When you kiss the Hajar al-Aswad and you give your bay'ah, our hadith says that it records the bay'ah. And on the day of judgment, the Hajar al-Aswad will pledge or will be witness that you fulfill your responsibility through Hajj and you renew your covenant with Allah. Similarly, there is a heavenly stone that is buried within the parameters of Masjid Al-Sahlah. And the hadith says that it has the fingerprint or the names of all the Anbiya and the Awsiya who have recited Salat in Masjid Al-Sahlah. And it is buried within the parameters. If we do get a chance and time permits, if I am not mistaken, the place that is recorded for this stone is in the last corner of the mosque over there. So within every corner of the mosque, Masjid Al-Sahlah, there is a certain maqam. And Masjid Al-Sahlah was also the residence for a number of the Anbiya. Nabiullah Ibrahim's house formed part of the parameter of Masjid Al-Sahlah. Nabi Idris, it formed a part of, the masjid formed a part of his house. Similarly, you have Khidr, who is from the Hujjatullah Waliyullah Khidr. His residence was also recorded to be here in Masjid Al-Sahlah. So you find from a historical perspective, the Anbiya frequented this place. When it comes to the Imams, we have a count of two Imams. Number one is Imam Ja'far ibn Mohamed al-Sadiq salawatullah wa salamuhu alayhi. When the hadith tell us that once the Imam was in Kufa, there was a time that Imam resided in Kufa, and as he was sitting in his house, he got news from his companion. The companion came to Imam Sadiq and said, Ya Rasulullah, one of our Shia women has been arrested by the police of Bani Abbas. So Imam Sadiq said, what happened? He said, this Shia woman, she was a Muwali Mughib. She was walking on the street and she tripped over a stone. And when she tripped over the stone, she cried out in pain, Ya Allah, send your la'na on the killers of Sayyidah Fatima al-Zahra. So when the officers, the police of Bani Abbas heard this, they arrested her. And now she's in prison. She's in imprisonment. When Imam Sadiq alayhi salam heard this, the Rawi says, Ma'soom Imam Hujjatullah came out of his house and came into Masjid Al-Sahlah, and he recited a 2 rakat salah. So where we are seated is the mihrab of Imam Sadiq Ruhidah, where he recited the 2 rakat namaz. Therefore it's mustahab from the namaz or the salat that you recite in Masjid Al-Kufa, that you recite a 2 rakat salat in the mihrab of Imam Sadiq. Shuf what the hadith says. Imam Sadiq recited 2 rakat salat, and he went into sajda, and he started reciting dua and seeking to Allah for this woman to be released from prison. The Rawi says, before the Imam even lifted his head from sajda, we got news that this woman has been released from the prison. And it is from here, it has become a sunnah of the Shias of Ali Muhammad, that they come, they recite 2 rakat salat at the mihrab of Imam Sadiq, and we have within our hadith that there is not a single person who has a hajat except that it will be fulfilled from this place of Masjid Al-Sahlah. The biggest proof of this is Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. So this is number one. Number two, we have a maqam over here, which is the maqam of Mawla Sajjad alayhi salam. It's over here, the maqam of Imam Zainul Abidin. As you know, When Imam Sajjad alayhi salam returned back to Medina after the advent and the martyrdom of Imam al-Hussein in Karbala, there was a period of time where Imam al-Sajjad became aloof from the community in Medina. And what Imam Sajjad actually did is, he moved out into the outskirts, into the deserts. And the person who used to do tabligh in Medina on behalf of Imam Sajjad was Sayyida Zainab al-Kubra, which is why one of her titles is Na'iba Khassa. She would give the fatwas, she would issue the edicts, she would manage and run the Majalis Azhar and the revolution from Medina, whilst giving shelter and cover to Imam Sajjad. Whilst Imam Sajjad was living in the deserts, he would move from one camp to another, from one area of the desert to another, such that our hadiths show and tell us that Imam Sajjad for a number of years lived in the deserts and would move around Arabia, Hijaz and Iraq. One of the places that Imam Sajjad would come to whilst this period he lived in the deserts was Masjid Al-Sahlah, and he would spend nights upon nights in ibadat over here. So this is one of the places where Imam Sajjad worshipped Allah, his title Zainul Abidin, and this is one of the places where Imam Sajjad spent many nights in sajda, weeping over the tragedy of Imam al-Hussein.
Number 3.
2. Another point from this is Imam Sajjad,
So sorry.
if you recite the ziyarat of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, there are about 6 or 7 different ziyaras that you can recite of Imam Ali. One of the ziyaras of Amir al-Mu'mineen is known as Ziyarat Aminullah. Assalamu alayka ya Amin Allahi fi ardeh. This ziyarah is narrated by who? Is taught to us by who? By Imam Sajjad alayhi salam. And this is when the grave of Imam Ali was still hidden.